Okay, this is really bad right now because the Pokemon Company continues to show zero competency in managing a competitive scene.
Zero competency? Really? Hyperbole or not, you have done multiple videos about them being competent in finding hackers and managing the competitive scene.
That all they have to do is be vocal about their rules and not give some kind of crap copy and paste response to anyone that asks them a question, because this has been going on for a while now. Someone will hit me up and be like,
bear in mind, in his 2 videos he done about this subject, he's only shown 2 examples of the Pokemon Company answering questions. But for the sake of argument, I'm going to pretend that this is a widespread issue, like how he's portraying, but not for long.
Yo, I'll send a support ticket to get an answer for you about hacked Pokemon and Pokemon legality, and it's always the same thing. They say, we are not in a position to discuss legality of Pokemon overall. I guess they're saying that, and they've been saying this for years. Like, if you ask back in 4th or 5th generation,
the customer servants probably aren't allowed to discuss the legalities of Pokemon overall, especially in this setting.
They would say the exact same thing, and then they say as long as the Pokemon is obtainable through legal gameplay or makes it through the hack check, then you should be fine. That's kind of what they say. They make it this really vague thing.
Well, Verlisify, did they lie? No. If the Pokemon make it through the hack check, technically they are safe to battle with, in all fairness. You said the same thing to your audience when concerning glitching not being hacking.
Lie in modern Pokemon, VGC, the 7th generation, that there aren't any exclusive cases about what you can do in the red and blue virtual console. Yes, it isn't like purely single player because you can still trade and battle with friends, but the connectivity doesn't, like, there's a gate there. So whatever is allowed to participate in the current supported formats. Whatever isn't just stays in your game. Therefore, it's completely harmless.
It's funny that you're criticizing the VGC that actually makes the rules when they do the exact same thing that you did.
Problem is, everyone already knows how to cheat their Pokemon.
Yeah, that is a problem. A problem which you contributed to. See the annotation at the end of this video to the video which I did covering glitching and hacking.
Is going to give up any kind of magical information that you can use to bypass the hack check. That PK Hacks already does that, so they need to change their formatting, because when you read this response, now I don't think the question really matters because it's just one of the many responses and questions that people ask for the Pokemon Company. I had this one sent to me, but this is incredibly concerning because I haven't seen their copy-paste response look like this before.
You don't think the questions matter? You said that the questions being asked are just ones of the many that they get. So they're pretty much simple questions, more or less. Simple questions can have simple answers. Why go through unnecessary hoops to answer questions when questions are simple? Given the fact that questions are being answered by real people who likely answer simple questions all day, yeah, they're probably going to have a copy and paste response unless it's a specific question that requires more explanation. Not to mention, the question here might put things in a different context, such as here, but more on that later. It's almost like you're trying to remove the context of the question to shoehorn an argument. Haven't you ever dealt with customer service? Customer service can be incompetent. You misinformed a lot of people recently, so it's not surprising that they will have these copy and paste answers. Is any of that taken into account?
I wonder if it means that they're allowing illegal Pokemon according to their rules. Like, I don't understand this response.
If you didn't understand something, then maybe you should have asked the company the question about what you didn't understand instead of jumping to your own conclusions.
Because if you read the rulebook, 4.1, illegally manipulated Pokemon. Use of external devices such as a mobile app to modify or create items or Pokemon player's battle team is expressly forbidden. This is the golden rule of Pokemon legality.
There we go. GG. 10 out of 10. Here's a cookie. There's your answer to the specific question you're asking. Wait, what? There's 10 minutes left to the video. Oh my god.
And it seems like the Pokemon Company doesn't even care about it anymore, because now they say Pokemon are illegal if they're flagged by the hack check.
Again, if it makes it through the hack check, it's legit.
Problem, you can use PK Hex to illegally create a Pokemon, but it won't be flagged by hack check.
Okay, now I'm having deja vu, because you're just reiterating things that you said before.
And the Pokemon Company refuses to publicly make these statements. Like, is PK Hex illegal?
Okay, am I stuck in some kind of time anomaly? Because you're definitely repeating everything that you said prior. Why are you doing that? That's very curious to me. It's like, that's all you can say.
That's all you can say! 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 That's all you can say!
Don't get me wrong, I'm all for clarification. You're just saying the same thing over and over. While time has passed in my video, you're reiterating this point not even 2 minutes in. Argument by repetition, or also known as proof by assertion, which in this case, you're repeating the argument or premise of your video over and over in place of better supporting evidence. This is known as one of the most informal fallacies. In its extreme form, can lead to brainwashing.
And it seems like the Pokemon Company doesn't even care about it anymore.
Considering you just read off what you call the golden rule that mentions third-party software, which is what PK Hex is, you say that's against the rules, and that's in the VGC rules, you know, against third-party software. You said that just now. And now you're saying they don't acknowledge? You're contradicting yourself within your own video. You're doing my job for me. Thanks, Verlisify. Wow, that's really nice of you.
Or have they understood that since everyone in VGC cheats, and it's not even me being outrageous with this, if you go inside the VGC circles and you talk to people, like I get them tweeting, it's like, yeah, I'm in VGC and everyone cheats.
Can I get some of those tweets on screen? Oh yeah, thanks. That's why I like it. Look at that. Look at that undeniable proof Verlisify has provided. Man, all these claims are so valid with all this evidence.
Because no one wants to put in the time and the work, because now they're trying to take this as a serious competitive scene by breaking the main rules of Pokemon. But they're like, oh, it's not about, they always give you the same response. It's not about breeding, it's not about training, it's only about what happens inside the battle, therefore hacking Pokemon is okay.
You want to know a secret? Pokemon is RPG, first and foremost. And breeding and baby Pokemon were not introduced into Generation 2. Where there was no competitive scene, and they were introduced as a gimmick, likely to appeal to younger audience, or girls, or even just to follow the trend of other popular franchises. It had nothing to do with battling. It was not until Generation 3 until the company made actual efforts to make the game somewhat competitive, and even then it was a failure and was really just to milk the franchise, considering the mechanics that they implemented contradicted the actions to make the game actually competitive, which at the time we had no guaranteed way to control or monitor. It wasn't really into Generation 4 until most of these problems were fixed, and our online community was with the introduction of Wi-Fi, which made competitive battling flourish, and the company seeing the community and started their foundation upon that. What's my point of mentioning all of this? Well, breeding is a means to an end. It's pretty much how they fixed mechanics that they introduced. Mechanics which, in my opinion, makes the online competitive scene flawed. But that's another story. It doesn't matter how you get there. Having cheated Pokemon is not going to make you an amazing player. It takes skill, luck, time, and understanding of the competitive scene to win games. No matter how much you glitch your game or how much you breed.
Pokemon are only as strong as the trainer who raises them. A Pokemon that's weaker but better trained can still win. It depends on the trainer. I hope you're learning something from this, Joe.
And then with 2017 in Pokemon Sun and Moon, they added the manual hat checking appendix into the VGC rules, and then they made it a bit more understanding as to what they want out of a hacked Pokemon. Problem is, this doesn't include illegally manipulated Pokemon anymore, and it seems that they refer to the manual hack checking more than their rule.
That makes sense. What do you think about that, Pikachu? Given you are the company mascot. Well, it's an appendix, and it does not contradict the previous established rules. It says this appendix outlines the known hacks which are not currently caught by the electronic hack check, which obviously means they're aware that the system in place is flawed.
They should just delete this rule then, but it looks like the Pokemon Company puts it there just to have this as a wall, see guys, we say to not cheat, but if you cheat, just make sure it follows these rules right here.
Stop trying to fill in blanks. It's not what it says. You're making your own conclusions. Let me make some conclusions. You doing subsequential videos about this issue, misinforming people, has made it worse. Not to mention you promoting things like glitching on your channel, saying it's not a form of hacking when it is, has only complicated things even more so.
And the problem is that they've been loosening on these rules. That after I exposed Joshua Lorsey for having a hacked Porygon inside of a Beast Ball, they added this, Pokemon with these Pokedex numbers that are any other ball other than a Pokeball. But the Pokemon Company has no idea what they're doing because this is Silvally and the Porygon evolutionary line. Now, because of Pokemon Bank, that gets a little more crazy.
Yeah, the Pokebank does complicate things. The Dream, Park, Safari, and Sports Ball Pokemon are all accessible thanks to the access to previous generation Pokemon using the Pokebank, and given Pokemon Sun and Moon breeding mechanics which allow both male and females to have the likelihood to pass down their specific Pokeballs in different situations. Probably going to be a headache for the VGC to sort out all those exceptions. It's likely that this appendix will get an update, which is probably why the customer service are so lax about the situation. Again, I'm just pretending that this is an issue. But for anyone who wants to know what specific balls Pokemon can be attained in by their generation/games, serebii has an extensive database regarding the subject.
We still cannot have a Beast Ball Porygon, and also, this does not include these starter Pokemon, because you cannot have any starter Pokemon in something other than a Pokeball. But after they updated their rules recently, they removed this. So, one way of detecting an illegal Pokemon is going to be through their available Pokeball, and we have a way of detecting cheaters, and then they decide to remove it. After putting it in, it wasn't there, it was there, they got it wrong, they took it out, and now they're saying...
Good point. It is their rules, and they can change it and update it how they see fit. But a good point is a good point nonetheless. But have you considered this? Maybe VGC hates you. I'm not even being funny. It's possible. You have lots of haters. Your audience is large, and you have badmouthed and slandered the VGC community and the Pokemon Company on several occasions. And you try to do both their jobs, and when doing so, you openly use your platform to slander, bully, harass players, Poketubers in the Pokemon community at large. Why not coming off of your clumsy, hypocritical high horse? Either that or the more sensible reason, they just need to re-update it after they figure out all the complexities which the Pokebank has introduced. Oh yeah, and you have criticized hackers in the past for defying the Pokemon Company's specific defined rules.
Cheats Pokemon, anyone that uses PK hacks, power saves, they are not a true Pokemon fan. They do not abide by the spirit of the games. And they go against the Pokemon Company's intentions. It's in the rules. If you're breaking the rules of the Pokemon Company just for your own devices, then that means you do not support the Pokemon Company. You do not support their decisions. You are not an honest fan of the Pokemon Company, but it looks like they don't care.
Yeah, people use PK hacks and hackmons. They don't support the Pokemon Company, but under the same breath, you're making this video. How ironic.
Now we have the Onag Gaming. So you might have heard the Geico Gaming $1,000 prizes, whatever that they had going on. Well, one of the big problems is almost everyone on this page that was invited has used hacked Pokemon and has either been confirmed to use cheated Pokemon in the past.
Excuse me, let me just add one more person in there for me. Yeah, let me get in there. Here we go. There it is. Oh wait, these profiles are for accomplished Pokemon players who are actually good at the game.
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong. Can you tell which thing is not like the other by the time I finish this song?
Oh, you stink!
Currently uses cheated Pokemon or has very incredibly suspicious teams when it comes to their Pokemon legality. Like Sejun got busted back in the 5th generation, and I think in the 6th generation I showed it in another video, but he had illegal IVs on certain shiny Pokemon that he was using in competitions. So there's a lot of people that have been busted with illegal Pokemon, and then almost everyone else on this list has been tied to illegal looking teams at some point, such as Wolfclick's illegal Raichu.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
and also pretty much impossible team that was shared with Yoshi. So they brought these same Team to Worlds with this event Raichu and 2 perfect legendary Pokemon. So as you can see, that's going to be Marcus's team right there, who is Yoshi. Then we have Wolf's team, and it's pretty much the same. But this Raichu has a 1 in like 20-something billion odds of existing, and there were 2 of them in the top 4 for Worlds. So that's, and they were shared by the same person who has used an illegal Raichu in the past. Also, I remember doing a video about this a while ago where I effectively broke down the IVs of it, and it's a perfect Kyogre's.
This is so boring and forever taking.
Well, that Kyogre comes with a minimum of 3 IVs, but this was a 6 IV Kyogre, and it was a 6 IV Rayquaza, as well as the 6 IV Raichu. So the odds of one of these teams existing, pretty much impossible, let alone 2 teams. And then we've seen that Wolfglick has used cloned Pokemon before. Well, not necessarily used, but given it away.
Why are you spending so much on Wolfglick? The situation with Sejon happened years ago. That would make more sense to expand upon, because it happened so long ago. And you already made multiple videos about the Wolfglick situation. If Sejon got busted by the Pokemon Company, then I'm pretty sure he was reprimanded some way. I mean, that's just an assumption, but you didn't say who he got caught by. Was it the fans who caught him? Was it the Pokemon Company who caught him? You say that you talked about it in the previous video, but you don't leave the video in the description of this video, and you're not elaborating on the situation at all. Not to mention the search results are not doing a fair job of producing the video. I can only assume that whatever you're talking about, you only did it in passing in a video that wasn't about Sejon Park, because there's not a video that comes up, so that elaboration would be beneficial. It just seems odd that you just one off certain people and take special time out for others. Curious to me. You bring him into relevance a whole lot. I mean, I can write fan fiction based on how much you can bring him into relevance.
Retweet and follow for a chance to win a copy of the Raichu I used. That there should not be 3 of these Raichus floating around, let alone 1, let alone the other one to give away for all of this. So it just kind of shows that the Pokemon are very likely illegally modified, if not created, and that goes for pretty much everyone on the list, except for A-Drive, because he actually streams his VGC training. Cybertron back in 2012 and in the 2013 days with Black and White, that was kind of a lawless land, but everyone was doing RNG method, everyone was doing full shinies.
God damn. Alright.
Wait, RNG method is a form of glitching Verlisify. It doesn't use a third-party software. That's your own logic.
Helping quirk that ends up becoming a part of the highest level of play, and therefore it's usually used, and very rarely is it actually removed, and it just becomes a core part of the gameplay. So what does this mean for Pokemon? That's the golden rule. Once you break, it's over, and you can immediately see that that's cheating, but when it comes to glitching, there's no mention of glitching, and it doesn't use external devices. It's all done in-game.
So according to your logic, Cybertron, he's not a cheater, because, it's within the game, remember? Remember your argument was everyone can do glitching because it's in the game. Everybody could do RNG back then too. So if Cybertron's a cheater, what would that make you?
That's kind of an issue right there, but Enosh was behind doxing Wolf. Why are we letting someone into a tournament that doxed a fellow competitor to gain an unfair advantage by sniping their potential teams for the event?
The whole doxing situation involving Enosh and Wolfglick was done on Pokemon Showdown, which is not part of the VGC. It's sponsored by Smogon. It's pretty much for fans. It's not funded by the Pokemon Company. While it's a questionable situation, it makes sense that there's no ramifications in this situation, because it's not like Showdown can enforce their rules in the VGC and vice versa. Smogon's not official, remember?
So these are the problems here. That as we expand, the VGC community is very toxic, and they're very acceptable and tolerant of cheating. And then Wolf also thinks that you can breed hack parents and get a legal Pokemon offspring.
The past is in the past. Let it go. Let it go.
That's not true. The Pokemon Company actually sent an email response saying that you are not allowed to do that.
Yes, they sent a specific answer to your question that you asked about the Dream Ball Raichu. So they haven't been doing this for years like you said previously. The whole wolf glitch situation can be explained as thus. You failed to mention that the Raichu in question wasn't entering into an actual official VGC tournament. And since we're bringing up Wolfie again for the umpteenth time, I'd like to dispute your argument regarding Wolfie and Yoshi about having the same team and likely heck Pokemon, based upon the argument that I established for Cybertron. While I agree with you and your math holds up, spot on, and the likelihood of them actually having these Pokemon with perfect IVs, I have to question your motivations based on the criteria which you established for yourself. Because there were many game exploits in X and Y too, such as the QR code glitch and the RNG glitch. To establish them as cheaters, you'll actually have to prove, based on your criteria and nitpicking for yourself, that they use PK hacks or power saves or any other external device.
So, false information spreading, a lot of infighting, and even doxing, and all this crazy toxicity inside the community, and then a majority of VGC players thinking that cheating is okay because PK Hex is allowed.
What about Shay Vieira or Alex Ogloza? Are they just guilty by association with the VGC? Because you said everyone on this list are cheaters, with the exception of A-Drive.
And at the same time, this hacking has been going on for months now, and we have not seen a patch to at least slow it down. That at least they could do something to change to where PK Hex doesn't work as well in the future. Sure, there's already like millions of hacked Pokemon out there.
What are you talking about? According to serebii, the last patch was done in January, which was 2 months ago at the time of this video. That's not a lot of time that's passed. The developers are probably working on a patch right now as we speak. But the whole issue is, regardless of the patch, systems like Power Saves and PK Hex are going to get updates too once things get going. Good luck with your glitches, though.
They are lying to these companies. I feel bad for Geico because they are being heavily manipulated by the VGC community in this situation, because Geico Gaming, I don't know if they understand the VGC rules. I don't know if they were lied to about the VGC rules.
There's a lot of things you don't know.
If they were lied to about the history and past of a lot of these competitive players.
You are a fool if you think Geico, an auto insurance company, is being manipulated by the VGC. They don't care about this issue. Both parties are going to benefit for the sponsorship. Obviously, the players are getting sponsored, while on the other hand, Geico is expanding their brand to a younger demographic. No one's being manipulated here. It's a symbiotic relationship. Shut up, Verlisify.
With their illegal Pokemon, but also the Pokemon Company doesn't have like a visible ban list. I went to like the 2017 rules and resources. I don't see anything for like banned players, so I don't know. The Pokemon Company refuses to act. Yeah, I went to this right here. So yeah, judge and organize the resources. For Yu-Gi-Oh! For Magic, you would find something here that has a banned players, but you don't see that here because Pokemon Company doesn't care about banning players, yet they try to do something with their competitive scene, and they try to make it seem more legit and official.
It's fresh off the grill, it's fresh off the grill, it's fresh off the grill, and you're keeping it hot. It's fresh off the grill, it's fresh off the grill.
And a lot of other videos that, yeah, competitive Pokemon sucks right now because it's just a lot of assholes and cheaters, and the Pokemon Company doesn't do anything to do that, and then those assholes and cheaters are just kind of running other events, and it's really killing Pokemon. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the competitive scene develops, but overall, it's pretty bad right now, and the Pokemon Company is not making a lot of friends. Like, all the legitimate players are starting to get really pissed off at the Pokemon Company because they're writing emails like this. It's like, well, we're kind of against it, but even though we're going to contradict our own rules, you know, it's kind of okay. Every time we say that's not okay, people get mad at us, so it looks like we have to be okay with hacking since we're not going to do anything about it.
Oh really, Verlisify? Is that what it says? Well, the question that you're putting on screen says, with all the new information discovered about the new 7th generation games, there's been a tool called RNG, Report/Helper, released for the public use. It does not connect directly to the games, but instead, you input data to calculate and verify different things. Then the program is able to predict when different things will occur, RPG-wise. Mainly, this is being used for breeding as a tool that can predict exactly when an egg will produce a shiny, or a desired stat spread / ability combination. Nothing is edited, however. The calculation do allow players to obtain things more regularly. Much debate has been going on whether this is considered hacking, but nothing is edited within the game. There is no clear answer. The game itself still generates them with no outside actions taking place beyond calculation. Thus, they are still within the game's bound. Will these Pokemon still be allowed in competition play as they are still within the game boundaries and regulations, or are they considered hacked? If they are considered hacked, how might trainers and tournament officials discover them? And the Pokemon customer service answers, "Hello, thank you for contacting Pokemon support. While we are not in a position to discuss the legality of Pokemon overall, Pokemon are illegal if they are flagged by the electronic hack check or violate one of the rules in Section 5 of the VGC rules. Please let us know if we can assist you with anything else at this time." So this has nothing to do with PK hacks Verlisify. This has to do with RPG, follow the line more of a game exploit. So what the fuck?
It's just absolutely stupid. It also doesn't help that we have Nails OU and Smoke on VGC. This is Blairmons and Nails OU. The two people also behind doxing Wolf Flick, getting first and second place for the International Challenge. And
again, that's Showdown, which is a part of Smogon, which is not sponsored by the Pokemon Company and it's not official. Remember, that's you. That was your whole spiel. Smogon is only official when it's convenient to you or something.
The legality of the Pokemon also comes in question because they play simulators. They play on the ladder all day, and then they're also trying to work with all these other VGC players in a community where VGC players themselves say everyone hacks because they don't have the time.
Well, that's an assumption altogether. I can sum up this entire video with one word: hypocrisy. Based on the glitching versus hacking debate, not only do you lose credibility, based on the credentials you put in place for yourself, everything you say here and in the past could be discredited now if one was to follow that frame. If players cheat and they get away with it, it only reflects on them as players, not the Pokemon Company. Just as when you cheated, it only reflects on you, not the Pokemon Company. You exploit the games. They exploit the games, not the company. Regarding the whole customer service issue, customer service varies, but that's the Pokemon Company's problem. And you're only showing 2 examples in the videos you've done about the subject. In this video, the example that you're giving has nothing to do with PK hacks. And it's an adequate answer in my opinion. It's not an issue. It really isn't an issue. You have the Pokemon Terms and Service, which it says apply to all the properties. If you watch this video and have any questions about glitching, hacking, cloning, or anything that's not specifically addressed in the VGC Sun and Moon 2017 rules, don't go to the Verlisify. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I suggest you look for the Pokemon Terms and Service page. 2 days of bitching. Well, at least he's done. And so am I. I'm going to be doing another video, not on Verlisify. I'm done with him. He's stupid. It's going to be more positive, but it's still going to be a critique. So if you want to see that video, subscribe. And if you don't like Verlisify, give that like button a thumbs up. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Pumpkaboo was probably the most excited I have been about a Pokemon announcement, like when Pumpkaboo was released, ever. Let's go into a long backstory here. I love Pumpkin.